I'm not proud to admit it, but I used to be an ego lifter. Them high school days when you're young, confident, and really feeling yourself, you think you're the biggest guy on earth. Look what we got right here. 475, super high bench, knee wraps, belt, super skinny, bad form, horrible walkout. You know what? 1, 2, 3, breathe and brace, and RIP your lower back, just bounce off the bench. Bro, where were the coaches telling me not to do this? Where were they at? What's up everyone, David here. Got a new video for y'all today, but before we get into it, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification so you don't miss out on any new videos. Because remember, new videos on this channel every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. So don't miss out. Now today we're gonna take a moment back in time and I want you to really reflect on how you were when you first started, especially if you were a young, confident teenage boy with all the testosterone running. You saw the slightest bit of gains and you thought you were the biggest guy on earth, and you know what? You wanted to test the boundaries. And when I say test the boundaries, I really mean ego lifting. And now let's flash forward a couple years. I want you to reflect on your training, and I want you to really ask yourself, are you actually that strong, or are you just ego lifting? Is your form complete garbage and you're just relying on pure raw strength and deteriorating your joints just for the sake of getting that last rep, sacrificing form for the sake of just adding 5 pounds on your lifts?
I don't know.
I'll tell you one thing, I used to be that person, but eventually, you know, we all gotta grow up one day. We all gotta mature, and we gotta come to the realization, if we continue to lifting this way, then no, we're not going to be seeing results. Eventually, one day, it's just going to catch up to it and a major injury is going to happen and it's going to sideline us for a long time. When instead, we can be taking all that time, all that energy to properly learn how to lift good form and then slowly progress. Take a step back, lighten up the weight, refine the form, practice it over and over and over again, and then eventually surpass not only where we once were weight-wise, how much was loaded on the bar, but actually go even further, all on top of having improved form. I mean, come on now. I'm looking at old clips of when I was in high school. I just used to see the stupid shit that I used to do all the time. And honestly, the biggest thing I could think of is, man, where were my coaches at telling me don't be doing stuff like this? Where was my own common sense at when I was in the home gym telling me, hey, don't be lifting stuff like this. Just don't be training in this type of style. It doesn't benefit you in any way. I mean, I'm just looking back at all the old clips. Biggest ones that really stand out to me was deadlifts, because although, yes, I was able to get these lifts up, realistically, did they serve me any purpose? I mean, just look at this video. Yes, the weight, oh my God, just disgraceful. Yes, the weight went up. Yes, I was able to get 3 reps with it. Yes, it looks relatively easy, but you can clearly see how round my back is and I just pop up like nothing. And that's the big problem when it comes to ego lifting. Hell, let's look at this other one. Even heavier with the deadlifts. Many of you, the reason why you can't see an issue or you don't see any faults with it is because you feel fine. I felt perfect in these videos. My lower back felt absolutely no pain whatsoever, but I already know if I would have continued to work out in this way, eventually it would have caught up to me. I mean, just look at these forms. I'm just bouncing the bar off the ground. Lower back is rounding, super wide stance for as far as a conventional deadlift goes. Oh my God, it is just pitiful. And you compare that now to what my deadlift form looks like as of now. This past week, I was able to deadlift, same thing, sets of 3, just like those old clips, but with a lot more weight. Not only a lot more weight, but better control on the eccentrics, better improvement on keeping my back straight on the way up, good solid control, heavier weight progress, everything just looks so much better. And that's what I want you all to realize. Ego lifting is not going to get you anywhere. Yes, you may be young. Yes, you may not feel anything now, but eventually you never know. All it takes is one bad rep to completely ruin your world. So stop ego lifting, take a step back, and actually take the time to learn the form. If you were to learn the form and go all in and just practice it, repetition over a long period of time, then you're going to bounce back to whatever that heavy weight was in no time. Hell, you're even going to exceed it because now you know the proper mechanics. So let's go ahead and break it up into 4 parts. Ego lifting, number 1. What is it? I want you to understand there's a huge difference between ego lifting and just lifting heavy. Me personally, amongst with many others, we like to train like power lifters. We just care more so about being strong. We train for performance, increasing our overall strength. We're not necessarily caring too much about hypertrophy, aesthetics, training to build as much muscle. I personally train just to load up as much weight as I can on the bar. Okay, I train for strength, being strong, all right, grinding out those reps. But am I ego lifting? What's the distinction? One is you're grinding against heavy weights, you're straining, struggling, but your form is still intact and you're taking the proper amount of time to warm up leading up into that set. Ego lifting, on the other hand, you're putting way too much weight on the bar, and you know it's too much weight when you're sacrificing your form for the sake of either getting extra reps or for the sake of actually getting that weight up for one. The biggest thing I could think of, let's just take a bench press. I'm pretty sure many of you have seen those guys on the bench press. They unrack the bar, they're already shaking, and then when they go down, they just completely bounce the bar off their chest, and they're letting the momentum from the bounce carry them on into the lockout. Not only that, I'm pretty sure you see them with their hips completely coming off the bench. Hell, with the angle of their body, they're practically at a decline bench at that point, okay? You take that, and let's just say this past week, I did a bench press. I did a top set of 3 with 250. Yes, it was touch and go, but was the bar really completely bouncing off my chest? Did my form really falter? Did my hips come off the ground? Did my elbows really flare up? No, the form was still relatively intact. It just wasn't a pause. But you know what? What if we did do a pause to just really make sure the form is even better? Okay, let's lighten it down right after. I did 245 for a set of 3. Paused the bar on my chest each time. Same thing. The form was good. That last rep was very difficult. I really strained on it. But would you look at that video? Would you look at that set and call it ego lifting? No, that is just straining under load. So understand the big difference. If you're training for strength, okay, that's good. That's one thing. Continue going about it safely. Proper warm-ups leading up to those top sets. Make sure you're recovering enough. Make sure the form is intact. Compare that and understand the difference between ego lifting. Form, complete afterthought, just whatever it takes to get the weight from point A to point B. That right there, that's what you got to be real mindful of. Understand the difference. Once you understand it, you'll step away from the ego lifting and start going to a more structured program to really see results strength-wise. Number 2, why do people ego lift in the first place? Well, it should be pretty self-explanatory. What's the main reason? It's in the name. Their ego itself. They want to feel the validation from others around the gym. I'm going to tell you right now, if that's you, you got to stop. It's getting you absolutely nowhere when it comes to seeing results, seeing strength improvements. No one's looking at you in the gym. Everyone in the gym, you may think eyes are on you. Everyone's in there for their own personal reasons. They're all there for their own gains. They're not going to be worried too much about what you do, especially if they don't know you. You're just a complete stranger to them. So don't be lifting for the sake of getting other people's attention, for the sake of validating yourself or getting other people's approval. No, all you're doing is just putting yourself at your own risk. Number 2, social media. We see all the best lifts on social media with gymflation happening. What used to be considered a heavyweight no longer is impressive because now on social media we see all these teens with good form lifting so much, so that leads this younger generation to want to push even harder to get to that level too soon. No, don't let social media fool you. Whatever other people are doing, okay, good for them. Just focus on you. Don't be in a rush to get up to their level. Whatever they're lifting, okay, good for them. They probably have amazing genetics. They probably have a great work ethic. They probably have good coaches, a good program, nutrition's dialed in, recovery is intact. They got all the boxes checked off. That's not you. You got to figure out your own path. You got to take all those things that person is doing, take them into account and see what is it that you're lacking. Are you going about it with a proper nutrition plan? Do you have a structured program? Are you getting adequate recovery? Why is it that you're not at that level? It's not because you're not him. It's because you can't even focus on your own individual factors. So don't get caught up too much about what other people are doing because you're not them. Just focus on your own path. You're going to progress at a different rate. If you progress slowly, that's okay. Slow progress is still progress. Just focus on you. Focus on bettering yourself each workout. Focus on getting stronger one step at a time, but don't rush it. And lastly, I feel like the big reason why many people also ego lift is because they think that going heavy is the only way that they can see results. And these results could be, for one, obviously strength reasons, which is the whole purpose of, lifting heavy, but muscle building. Many youngsters, the only way that they think that they need to see progress through progressive overload is through lifting heavy. Yes, they understand the concept of progressive overload, constantly overloading the muscles, constantly adding new stimulus. But I feel like many young people, especially when they're first starting out in the gym, they think that the only way to go about that is just by constantly adding weight to the bar. No, that's not the only way. You want to continue to overload those muscles. You want to continue to add more stimulus. Adding weight is not always the answer. You could always take the same amount of weight that you're currently doing, just increase the amount of reps. Keep the same amount of weight and the same amount of reps, just add an extra set. Instead of doing 3 sets, now you're gonna do 4 sets. Or instead, how about we go even lighter, but now we really focus on going slow on the way down and then explode on the way up, focusing on those eccentrics, okay? Not just rushing and dive bombing on the way down. There's so many other ways for you to progress in any given exercise, in any given workout. Adding weight is not always the only way. Yes, it's the most visually obvious one. You can visually see when someone's going heavier and heavier. Yes, that can be measured through progress, but eventually you're just gonna cap yourself. There's only so much that you can do. There's only so many weeks in a row where you can continue adding 5 pounds on each side of the bar. Look at other factors to progressively overload an exercise. Number 3, when it comes to ego lifting, why it holds you back in the first place. Well, biggest thing is all you're doing is reinforcing a bad movement pattern. When it comes to strength gains, you're only going to get as strong and you're only going to see as much progress as your form allows you. The best lifters in the world, the best power lifters, the best strength athletes in the world, do you really think that they're as strong as they are because they're constantly straining with bad form from workout to workout? No, you look at the workout programs, they are essentially the same program week in and week out. They're constantly practicing the same exact movement on a weekly basis, really refining the form. You get better at something by doing that one thing. Why do you think we see all these top level athletes, these strength athletes specifically, power lifters, strongmen, Olympic weight lifters, anyone who's going to be competing to see who's the strongest in a given lift? You see them practicing the same movements over and over and over again because practice makes perfect. But if you keep practicing in a bad movement, all you're gonna do is get stronger in that bad position, and that's what's gonna lead to injury. If you keep practicing a deadlift with a rounded lower back, you don't think one day it's gonna catch up to you? You keep practicing a bench press with your hips completely coming off the bench, with one arm shooting up first instead of the other, shoulders completely moving around because you're just not strong enough to handle that heavy a weight. You don't think that's gonna catch up to you? You don't think that's gonna give you shoulder problems later on? You don't think you're gonna mess up an elbow or wrist? Something? It all adds up. You gotta go ahead and lighten up the weight, and you gotta actually start practicing the proper form. Once the form is intact, everything else will come with it. We keep talking about the injury risk, but what happens once you actually get injured? Now you can't even do that exercise for who knows how long, depending on the severity of the injury. Now you gotta sit at home, you can't even hit the gym, you gotta wait till you're healed up, and then what are you gonna do? Once you're good to go, are you gonna go back to the gym and go back to that bad form, that ego lifting that led to injury in the first place? Obviously not. On the flip side, if you know this type of training style is going to lead to an injury, why are you waiting for it to happen before you have that wake-up call realizing that you shouldn't be doing this in the first place? How about you take a step back while you still have the chance to avoid the injury, start practicing the proper way to lift, and then progress it. Don't wait for the injury to happen. Prevent it now while you still can. Practice the good form, and then you'll be able to spend the rest of your life reinforcing that proper technique and be a lifetime of injury-free training. So now with those 3 points out the way, now let's lead to the 4th one. How can you actually now apply heavy lifting without ego lifting? First things first, progressive overload. We hinted about it earlier, but how can we actually go about it? Yes, you can add 5 pounds every week to your lift. Yes, that is progressive overload. Yes, you're applying new stimulus to the muscle, but eventually you're gonna just be capped out. There's only so much weight you can add on a weekly basis. How about we keep the weight the same? Manipulate the other training variables. Change the amount of reps, change the amount of sets, change the rest time, change the frequency. How about instead of now just benching once a week, you bench twice a week? Keep the weight the same, but now you're doing twice the amount of sets because you're doing it on 2 individual days. Other thing you can do, record yourself. How about last week you look at your video of you squatting 3 plates and you only got it for, let's just say, 5 reps, okay? This week, how about instead we record ourselves again, and we're not gonna be going for more reps, we're not gonna be going for more weight, we're gonna keep it the same, 315 for 5, but now I'm gonna make sure that after I record myself, I look at last week's clip, I look at this week's clip. I wanna make sure I see an improvement on form. I wanna make sure my back stays really straight on this one. I wanna make sure I really push my knees outwards. I wanna make sure my upper back doesn't round on this one. So you see, we don't have to change the weight to set the rep. You could just see improvements in form, and that's already a big win. Compare yourself. Be really critical about yourself. Hold yourself accountable to these training standards. Record yourself, not for the sake of your ego and posting on social media, but for the sake of keeping it for your own personal records to see what is that you know you need to improve on. For me personally, when it comes to my squat, when I record myself, especially for this past week, I saw myself go down, but I saw my hips shoot up first and then the rest of my back. I also saw a slight little rotation down on the right side. I kind of crunched a little more. So I got to work on really just pulling the bar down into my back to make sure I stay as upright as I can. So you see, I'm very critical of myself when I record myself, and I make sure I address those issues in training. You should be doing the same thing. Another thing you could do, keep track of your progress and take notes of what is it that you felt good, what is it that you felt bad. Okay, this week I went ahead and I did bench press. Afterwards I did my pause. Afterwards I did my incline, and I did this much weight for everything, but I felt a strain on rep number 6 for the incline. How about for this upcoming week? I'm gonna keep the weight the same, but because last week I did 6 and I strained, this week I wanna be able to get that 6 rep, but with ease, and then maybe push on to a 7th, but properly with proper form. You got to be able to record your progress, because you got to have something to compare to. If you have nothing to compare to see where you once were, then how do you know if you're seeing results? If 3 months from now you don't know if you're seeing results or not, you don't know if you're getting stronger or not, well, how would you know? Let's look at what we did 3 months ago. I was doing this much reps, and then this week, nah, it's not seeing results. That should be a good indication. They should probably be changing something, but you won't know if you don't have that data, that research saved for your own comparison. So again, keep track of it. Put the notes in your phone, get a notebook, old school style, pen and paper, whatever it is. Just keep track of your progress. Occasionally look back and compare to see if whatever it is that you're doing works or not. So there you have it, everyone. Ego lifting. Just stop it. I personally used to be that way. I look at some of my old clips, I'm like, man, what was I thinking? What were the coaches thinking allowing me to lift like that? They were in plain sight and they didn't stop me, but whatever. Thankfully, I didn't get any major injury from any of that lifting. Luckily, I was mature enough to realize that I probably shouldn't be doing this in the first place, and it took years to properly learn the proper form and really start progressing even more so. You should be doing the same thing for yourself. You can lift heavy, you can see strength gains, you can load up the bar as much as you can, but do it with proper form, adequate warm-ups, proper amount of rest times in between sets, really prioritizing your recovery outside the gym, getting that nutrition intact, take all these other underlying factors into account, and you'll see the results. But if you're just sacrificing your form for the sake of adding 2.5 more on each side of the bar, just to get that one more PR, one more rep, man, one day it will catch up to you. If not now, then later. Now's your chance to actually address it, take a step back, learn from the mistakes, and actually make a change for the better. So comment down below if you enjoyed this video. Comment down below if you also have any other video suggestions you'd like to see me do, whether it be about mindset, motivation, nutrition, diets, workouts, programs, whatever it is. Comment down below. I'd be more than happy to help y'all out. Be sure to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out on any new videos, because remember, new videos on this channel every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday, so don't miss out. And Instagram and TikTok, same thing. Be sure to follow me on both accounts. I'll put all my links down in the description below. With that being said, I'll catch y'all next time.